In the desert, China has constructed yet another innovative, wonderful route. The Yuli Highway is that. This arid route was open to traffic in its formal capacity at the end of June last year. This roadway has a total length of around 334 kilometers, 307 kilometers of which are in the desert. Moreover, it is China's third desert roadway to cross the Sea of Death. Langkan. The Tacoma-Kan Desert's interior is entirely traversed by the Yuli-Qiemo Highway. It is the world's most challenging construction project and the desert highway with the longest miles, greatest dispersion of traveling dunes, and worst construction circumstances. The distance between Sherman County and Corolla, the prefecture's main city, has been reduced by around 350 kilometers thanks to the motorway. Long travel distances, a high cost of living, and challenges selling agricultural goods are all predicted to be significantly improved. The distance between Corolla and Chama has been traveled faster over the previous few decades. Instead of taking 3 days as it formerly did, it now only takes more than a dozen hours to complete the trip. How to progressively overcome the enormous engineering obstacles. What problems and obstacles have Chinese builders overcome in the past 5 years? In addition, we're going to speak about all of that and more. Let's get going. 1. Pushing down the sand mound at the Yuli-Qiemo Highway construction site is the first step towards bridging the Sea of Death. You may witness the astounding marvel of humans against nature. Between the imposing sand mounds, enormous bulldozers rumbled back and forth. Over 150 days, 40 bulldozers moved the shifting sand and the yellow sand to low-lying areas. In the Tacoma-Kan Desert, there has been an above-average quantity of earthwork, sand hill buildup, and travel distance, combined with the impact of the warm weather, which has made building extremely challenging. With such an infinite sea of sand, you must first push the dunes aside in order to make room for a road. The sand mountain extends 1 kilometer ahead. The depth of the excavation is greater than 30 meters, and the excavation volume surpasses 1.2 million cubic meters. 15 bulldozers in total were used in order to accomplish this. Because Sandy's mountains are so tall, they were chopped down using an onion peeling technique. The bulldozed road will be covered with woven fabric, coated with gravel, and rolled to create the foundation roadbed until the flatness of the sand hill achieves the building standard. Because to the high fluidity and strong wind in the desert, the connecting procedure in the center is a highly crucial component. The workload will rise if the break is too lengthy, since it will put severe strain on the substandard work to be cleaned and redone. Also, the workload will grow in line, which will slow down the development of the entire project. Second, the key to demonstrating the sand fixation's magical abilities is the grass square grid. The desert is a mysterious area where quicksand has the power to engulf any life. The sweeping yellow sand will deal you a devastating blow in any overlooked detail if you don't control it. In order to construct a road in the desert, the sand must first be fixed. Otherwise, the wind and sand would completely bury the road, which is a huge disadvantage for road maintenance. In the development of sand management and sand fixation technologies for desert roadways, China has achieved excellent progress. As the Yuli-Qiemo Highway is China's third desert roadway, it also synthesizes and draws on the innovative and fruitful experience of the country's first 2 such highways. After careful scheme design and verification comparison, the Yuli-Qiemo Desert Highway started constructing grass grid protection projects along the entire line. To prevent some quicksand from entering the road, a sand barrier was first built around the dunes on either side of the roadbed. Next, grass squares were laid, one after another, to block quicksand from entering the road. On the moving sand dunes, the so-called grass grid is actually a red, grid-shaped windscreen. It lessens the power of the wind, prevents quicksand from forming, and keeps the ground from shifting, all of which contribute to the preservation of soil and water. In such sandy terrain that is undulating, large pieces of construction equipment are virtually worthless for the construction process. So this endeavor is almost entirely completed by the work of humans braving the extreme temperatures of the desert. The construction crew has to bring each bundle of 70 kilograms of reeds into the desert, mark construction grid lines on the sand dunes, place the trimmed reeds on the grid lines, and then use a shovel to embed the center of the reeds in the sand. This is the first step in the process of building a square that is 1 meter long and 1 meter wide. In the desert of Lomacan, you may see sand dunes that are both windy and flowing, only under the condition that the grass patches that are installed on each side of the roadbed are larger and more substantial. The power to guard will be significantly increased 100 meters in each direction along the road that surrounds the grass square. In order to build a durable fence that is resistant to sand, wooden pegs are used as columns, nylon nets are used as textiles, and thin iron wires are utilized to firmly join the two components together. As a direct consequence of this, a verdant barrier that extends for hundreds of kilometers and acts as the front line of protection against wind and sand is produced. 3 iterations of an experiment that were performed in order to resolve difficulties. Significant contributions were made by the team that was focused on science and technology. The Yuli-Qiemo Desert Highway traverses extremely rugged terrain, which makes it challenging to locate a large number of locally accessible materials for the construction of roadways. The utilization of the Aeolian sand that is extensively scattered across the desert as the major filler for roadbeds is without a doubt the most practical and cost-effective choice. The Aeolian sand is a one-of-a-kind type of sand that differs from other types of sand in both its physical and chemical characteristics. It is the kind of sand that typically forms in arid regions, and it is characterized by its tiny particle size looseness, lack of viscosity, low natural moisture content, and poor water retention. The rise of large-scale transportation building in Xinjiang has led to an increase in the total length of highways in desert regions. In addition, research on Aeolian sand has to be improved and refined. After all, the attributes of the Yuli-Qiemo Desert Highway building project, such as stability and general strength, are tied to the service life of the road after it is open to traffic once it has been completed. The construction crew has regularly collaborated with a number of scientific research organizations. In addition to doing a number of indoor test comparisons of Aeolian sand, they have also performed theoretical research on the compaction mechanism of subgrade Aeolian sand. The term subgrade refers to the totality of what is known as Aeolian sand. The mechanical features of the compaction process have left behind an invaluable body of knowledge for the creation of desert highways all over the world. In addition to providing the foundation for the construction of roads, this procedure has also left behind this information. Ultimately, the construction of the Yuli-Qiemo Desert Highway made it possible to successfully traverse the Sea of Death and to create an economic belt in the hinterland of Xinjiang. This was made possible by a combination of factors, cutting down on the huge distances that the residents have to go. The living expenditures are high, and the sales of agricultural products are difficult. In addition, because this road connects a number of popular tourist spots, Xinjiang will see an increase in the number of tourists. With one swift motion, the area where the road traverses through is the Oil Geological Accumulation Enrichment Zone in the Darien Basin. This region will be a significant source of support for future oil and gas exploration, production, and transportation, and it is essential to the progression of the development of beneficial resources as well as the economic and social development along the route. Thank you very much. This concludes my report for today. Share your opinion in comments. Also, click on this video to watch about another shocking project.